Welcome back to the Relentless Mind. My name is Michael and this channel is dedicated to your path to success. In this video we will handle what it's all about going solo. It is the natural next step which comes after getting rid of the negativity anchors. That video you can watch it and then come back to this video if you haven't done so. Of course you also have watched the 4 factors of elevation and know exactly where we are heading. But at some point you will start going solo. That means that the next step forward will feel lonely, and that's a good sign. So let me explain a bit further. The transition is basically that you identified your negativity anchors. You made then the decision to detach from those people and that surrounding. So you expect progress. You want to move forward. But what comes next is actually isolation, because growth starts with separation. You have gotten out of that environment, you are no longer involved with those friends, and that of course means that you no longer have the same path as they do. You will basically start doing something different from what they are doing. So your current circle equals your current level. All those people around you are the level that they are at, and that is where you would have stayed if you had not embarked on this path. So growth at some point starts to create distance from those people, and not everyone can come with you. We will see that in the next slide. So loneliness is unfortunately proof of movement, and it has of course some emotional impacts which we will also get into. But why can't business be run with friends and family? It is possible, but usually it fails. So there's different ambition levels between the one that is watching the video right now and the one that you will convince to follow you on this path will not be the same ambition as you have. So the emotional decisions that come afterwards will be very different. They maybe don't want to go as fast as you do. They maybe want to take a step back, take it easy, see where it's heading, while you just want to move and progress and make it happen. So up next will be that lack of accountability, because while you are trying to get faster ahead of it, they are trying to basically still go back to that comfort level. So that comfort basically replaces performance. It is easy to be comfortable, but performance requires quite a lot of effort, and not everybody is willing to make that effort. So serious growth basically also requires standards, and those standards will become elevated as you progress, and not everybody wants those same standards. But at some point your time will change. So before you spend a lot of time socializing and being comfortable, but now you are starting to learn, to train and to execute. This is a whole different ball game. It is not the same as it was before. So you are basically reinvesting your time. You are going out there to get books, you are reading, you are studying your field, you are learning also from others because you start to interact with different people. And of course that means that will be also less social interactions, because you're not meeting up with the same people over and over again to discuss the same things over and over again. You will have different conversations with different people, but those people are not common to you. So you have to get to know them and they have to get to know you and trust you. So that's where you basically upgrade your mind. You become something different, and because you become something different, your time will be spent differently. In the fitness phase it will happen the same, and hopefully you will do both at the same time, because a fit mind can better accumulate knowledge than a tired and weak mind. So the fitness phase basically means that you will spend some time running, going to the gym, maybe cycling, whatever basically makes you feel better physically is what you will have to do. And that time will be spent away from the people that you were spending it with before. Now this will also create a routine, because you cannot always do those physical exercises in the same time as you're acquiring the knowledge and going out there making it happen. We will get into that on the next slide as well. So you will probably have early mornings or late sessions where you will do your exercises, and that's not where other people will come into play. So when you meet your friends in the evening, that was the usual schedule. Now all of a sudden you're replacing it with that physical phase. And your training also means that you will have different results, and you can only earn those results by being alone. It is not something that you will do together. So once you move out of the fitness phase comes the experience phase. This is where you do all the work. So you will be the person writing the emails. You will be making those calls, maybe knocking on those doors, and you will go to those meetings and networkings. And that is all an experience that is almost always individual. Perhaps at some point someone will come along with you on them, but it's probably someone that you have met during this experience phase that is aligned with your system and your mindset that was not there before with those old systems and mindsets that were all around you, those negativity anchors. So before we had noise, there was a lot going on. There's a lot of information coming in, which is always the same information, but now all of a sudden that information stops because you got rid of those negativity anchors and it is silent. And that means that there will at some point also be doubt because you have, because you have no one to bounce your ideas off. There's no one that actually can reciprocate what you are currently thinking. And the thought pattern is no longer the same with those people that you are now interacting with that you had before around you. So you will start at some point to question your decision. Am I making the right move here? Shouldn't I just go back to my old friends and family? Isn't this the right thing to do? Because everyone else is doing it. It makes total sense. But most people actually quit here because they don't feel comfortable in this loneliness. They have to have people around you. They will come. Be patient. And this is where identity is basically built. A new identity. It's not the same identity as before. This is an identity that you're building up. And in loneliness is where you basically start to build up that identity to understand what actually is required of you to get to the next level. So reframe that loneliness. You are not alone. You are actually early. The other ones are actually late. So all the people that were around you before are gonna see that you're doing the right thing and they will be late. And you left before the others. The others will at some point maybe try to join or at least put you on a pedestal and see you for what you actually have achieved here. So you build before the others even start, and you are of course ahead of your environment because that environment at some point will also want to move forward. It's just that you are already at step 20 when they are at step 10, and you will be at step 50 when they are at step 20. So you're moving much faster than they are. So you have to then build that new circle. It's not something that you have to do per se, it's something that will come naturally because you meet new people through that activity. If you go to the gym, go running, maybe join a running club and so on, if you start to do those networkings, door knocking, emails, phone calls, sell what you have to sell, that is something that happens with different people. It is not that you will sell to your friends or your family members. That's not how it works. The numbers are out there. They are not in your direct surroundings. So you will have to get out there and you will gain respect through action. Because the more action you take, the more people see how active you are trying to achieve that goal. Now that is something that people respect because you are a go-getter. You want to make it happen. So you at some point will build trust through consistency. Continuously doing the same thing over and over again is not madness if it has a goal which is achievable and it is something that is elevated. And at some point you have earned that new circle. That is something that you did with your efforts, with your willingness to take the next step. That is something to be mindful of and to actually basically love. It is something that you have created out of nothing. You have changed yourself and now all of a sudden you have a new circle around you that you have earned. Here's a little anecdote. So when I started out on this path, I also ended up in loneliness. I was running by myself, I was making the YouTube videos on the real estate market in my home country by myself. There was no one around me. There was no one coming with me on the door knocking. There's no one making the cold calls. I was the only one doing it. And at some point, someone commented on one of my YouTube videos. The idea was quite simple. I just proposed in one of my YouTube videos that it would be great to run together through the cities, through the lands, and basically talk real estate. And someone replied, That person became a good friend of mine, and he introduced me to other runners who had the same mindset. So basically, we have started this little group of runners that meet on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. when our families are asleep and the children are not bothered by our non-presence in the home. And basically, we are out there running trails and talking business, money, and investing. How great is that? Now that's a new circle, and you can attain the same thing if you just apply those principles. So trust is then the new currency, because you show up consistently to those meetings, you do those phone calls, you are basically always in charge of your own destiny. Now you also start delivering results, because if you don't deliver results, there is no trust. If I go out there and promise someone that I am capable of selling their home, then I have to also do it. That is how trust is built. I can't make false claims and not make it happen for them. And then it comes down to being disciplined. So repeating the process over and over again. Learn what you did wrong, apply what you did right over and over again, and adjust your strategy. That goes back to the 4 factors of elevation. And then at some point, people will basically trust you. It is a pattern that will just come back over and over and over again. The more you do this, the more people will basically start to follow you, basically start to understand that you are a serious person that basically can help them move forward as well, like-minded people. And these people will enjoy being around you, and you will be able to hold up that conversation with them, because that knowledge that you learned earlier will still be there, and you can regurgitate it at any point in time and basically always be in the center of attention. Now, from solo to network, there are a couple of stages. So the first one, of course, is the anchors. You are anchored with those negativity anchors. That means that you are just stuck. Now you move up to the next level and you become kind of isolated. You're alone. But the third stage will be just around the corner. Perhaps it will take a while, sometimes a couple of years, like it did in my case, but perhaps you can move faster. At some point, you will then be connected. The fact is that most never leave stage 1, and you are now actually in stage 2. Don't worry, stage 3 will come, and there are multiple stages after that. Now, the final message is that you cut the anchors. Now you stepped into isolation, that is great. You started building elevation. You're starting to grow into something different. Now this is your takeoff phase. So it's the plane leaving the runway and you're starting to take off. Now we have to get you to the cruise phase. So again, with our Relentless Mind channel, we want to make it clear to you that you first have to cut the anchors, then build that elevation, and now you have to go solo. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please follow and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.